Hi, my name is Barry McCauley, and this industry's presentation is quite focused towards Ireland, but I think you should be able to kind of get a kind of hint of maybe what you're facing within your own jurisdictions, especially if it's a kind of a small country. And some of the work that we're doing to try and advance that and impact national policy, which has proven difficult, but we are making progress. So, just a little bit of a background. The BICP came around from Enterprise Ireland. Enterprise Ireland are a body that exists to help Ireland grow their businesses abroad. So what they said, look, we have a body of funding here. We need to know where the industry is at the moment. The maturity in the public sector, the private sector, HEIs. We need to know what you're doing and how we can get forward and how we can influence the industry. So what they did is they provided funding up to 200,000, or I actually don't even think it was that much. But it was limited funding for what they required. And Construction IT Alliance in partnership with Construction IT Alliance CETA in partnership with DIT and Trinity College Dublin came together to put some structure in this programme. And one of the most important things about this programme is that the National BIM Council of Ireland was formed in the last year, and they're creating a roadmap. So they turned around and they asked us, they said, look, can you help us with this roadmap? Can you go off and help us structures, come up with pillars, teams, and tell us what we should be looking at? So what we did was we started to do that. And what we did with this aspect is we broke this into 4 key packages. So the first thing that we had to do is we had to go around the rest of the world and look at what's going on. What constitutes a successful implementation plan? What's the key pillars for it to be realised? How do we action it? So then we wanted to look at where we are in Ireland in relation to each one of these pillars, and more importantly, what can we do to kickstart it on. So these are just 2 of the aspects within here, but they all kind of round out to what we hope is the production of a National Irish Roadmap. So we went over and we looked at 28 different countries. And what we did was a kind of high-level overview. We just did a scoping exercise. What we want to know was, did your country have a mandate? Did you have funding? What was the time regulatory? What was the regulatory bodies? And did you have any particular standards or particular kind of health guides? So we just want to know what each one of these different countries actually did to advance their countries. And it's not just the countries that we all know, like Finland and America, that are doing such great work, but other smaller countries such as Portugal and other like that are kind of in Ireland's situation where we're trying and struggling. So what we came up here was quite encouraging. This kind of infographic map represents some of the key mandates out there, some of the key countries that have future mandates fixed. And then the orange one directly around no requirement. But if you look at Brazil, I know that there was a roadmap proposed to the government. So there's kind of a lot of work going on here. So hopefully that gives us all a bit of encouragement looking at this. Maybe when we strip it back a little bit, it's not as kind of it's complimentary, but I suppose it's good to be optimistic. So what we came up was, we went to the Irish government, we went to the National BIM Council, and we said, look, this is a high level view. It might not match, particularly what different countries did, but what we've come along is these key pillars, and we need to address these key pillars if we have a chance of getting this roadmap into circulation. So we looked at, we need to review our contracts and procurement to make sure they're being ready. We need to select and monitor pathfinder projects, develop and disseminate national guidelines. And when I mean guidelines, I don't particularly mean standards, I mean maybe help guides, such as the New Zealand handbook that was described there, maybe one an Irish handbook. Funding and implementing, develop a rollout national training program, and look at other international standards. One thing about Ireland is that the UK are kind of, they're our trading partner. Maybe Brexit might dictate that a bit better, but at this moment they're our trading partner. So we maybe didn't need to reinvent the wheel. We could look at what they were doing. They're doing some great work. So what we want to do was what's going on in the UK, and can we use some of this information? And that's what we did. So we presented this, and what they asked us then, they said, well, this is great, you've showed us some key pillars and teams, but where are we in the country? Whereabouts are we in each one of these? So we said, okay, fair enough, we'll go out there and get you this information, and we'll have a look and come back and give you the vision, the gaps, what you need to do to address this. So see, just some of the key findings. I suppose to understand with the Irish construction industry, back in 2007 the industry was great, but construction accounted for 25% GDP. So what happened is when you pulled that Lego block out, everything crashed. So when the construction industry started failing, the whole industry started failing. And that resulted in then a dark time of recession, but we're out of it now. However, legacy issues are still there. We have a housing crisis. we have a lack of skilled workforce, we have an ageing workforce. So there are a number of barriers still within the industry. And in all fairness to the Irish government, they are progressive thinking, and they're looking at different contractual models as well as BIM as partial solutions. Not the complete answer, but a partial solution to addressing some of these issues. So recently, it's been quite encouraging. What the National Office of Government Procurement brought out was an actual positional paper where they're recommending that Ireland adopt a 5-band strategy, band 5 being your kind of National Children's Hospital. It's going to be a case study in the third edition handbook, to one which is your lonely school down the country. And they're going to, between that is 48 months, and then the kind of National Children's Hospital is 12, which is quite ingenious because they're already using BIM technology. So, it'll be a good marketing tool within 12 months because we're already at that stage. But, this is where we are, and it's quite good. But on top of that, it's just a paper. There's no roadmap, there's no guidance. So this is where we came in to try and provide that. So this kind of just gives you an overview of this BIM roadmap here from the OPW. And across there is the roadmap that we're working on at the moment for the National BIM Council that will take in consideration the Office of Government Procurement. So there's a question for you there if anyone wants to ask why there's 2 roadmaps. We'll come, so I'll skip that, but it's a potential question if any of you are interested. So on top of that, what they asked us to do as well is they want us to get back to the industry. They want us to create research and e-portal of best practice guidance that we can give to the industry, that people can come along and say, well, look, we're starting our BIM journey. Where do we begin? How do we kind of kickstart this? So we started going out and we started documenting numbers of different case studies. I think we have about 20 case studies at this moment in time up on the BICP website. You can go down, take them down. You kind of go through the different aspects of clients, contractors, designers, SM, and it's all quite good. And from there, you can start gauge kind of how SMEs and all that start getting into this cycle. With the SMEs, it's quite interesting. I'll come to the end of that, how they're kind of progressing in this. These are some of the BIM projects in Ireland. So what we actually found was, BIM was a bit of a dirty word in Ireland. It wasn't really faced, it wasn't really talked about. But when we went out there and we started pulling back the covers, we actually found there's a hell of a lot of going on in the industry. We're looking at, now, we kind of created a database of BIM managers. So the first thing is that if we can create a BIM database of managers, well then there has to be work going on in BIM in the country. So we did that, and then we talked to each one of them, and these are some of the kind of different BIM projects he showed us. To what level they're applying, maybe it's just technology. I doubt some of them are doing full level 2 processes in partnership with this, but it's encouraging. We have been talking to industry for the last year and a half. What we've done is held a number of consultation workshops. We've held a number of different workshops. We got them together, and we got them into a kind of a focus group setting, and we asked them, look, what we did was we got a number of different multidisciplinary technologies in there, like contractors, threw lawyers in for the fun of it to make sure everything was above board. We had consultants, M&E, so forth. And some of the key things that we found out is that the clients just don't understand what it is. There's a big gap there. They think that it's nearly going to solve famine. They haven't got a clue of exactly what it can do and what it can't do. And the aspect there that we need to educate the clients, especially what BIM can't do. Because at this moment in time, they think that it's the answer, the holy grail to everything, while it's not. Other aspects of it that the contractors are finding incredibly difficult is that they're getting what they call dumb models from the architects, and they can't use them. So they're taking these models, they don't trust them, and they're rebuilding them from scratch up. Other aspects there as well, I'm trying to think. Training, I suppose, for kind of the older kind of generation. There's the fear culture there. They want to be trained, but they don't know where to go for. So we've kind of got a lot out of this, and especially down there in the kind of western of Ireland, which is a bit more lonely. The clients and the contractors are really struggling there at the moment because they have no resources. They don't know where to go. So what we did as well is that we mapped all the HEIs in Ireland. So we went out to the HEIs and we said, let's have a look out here and see what's going on. And what we actually found is that the 14 different HEIs in Ireland, every single one of them are teaching BIM programs. And the reason for this is the market. I'm teaching on the MSc and A BIM in DIT, and we're getting 40 or 50 people in that, coming in every Monday and Wednesday. And the reason we're getting that is that companies are kind of going, well, look, something's coming down the pipeline. We need to arm ourselves. So we need to go back in here. One of the key issues, though, that's coming out is that graduates are coming out at 19, 20 with very little industry experience, no industry experience, and are getting jobs, BIM coordinators, BIM managers after 6 months because, there's such a cry, such a want for these people in the industry. We've talked to most of the public sector bodies, and they're all doing something in this area, which is quite encouraging, but yet they're not asking for it. For example, the NDFA, which is the National Development Financing Agency, they're asking for an asset information model. That's what they want required. It's obvious you have to do BIM processes to get to that stage. So they're not asking for it, but yet they're kind of secretly putting it into the tender. So, it's a bit underhand, but at the end of the day, it's happening. TII, which is Transport Infrastructure Ireland, Metro North 2, they're trying to do a level 2 BIM process. That's 2 billion. That could be the real game changer in the industry, and there's potential there for a number of different, I suppose, case studies and a number of different kind of best practice. The Dublin City Council are trying to roll it out for their housing projects to kind of advance the housing sector. With regards to standards, well, what we're doing here is we're adopting PAS 1192. That's what the Irish industry, that's what it's saying, that's what's happening. So we found out that's kind of gaining traction. We've done surveys over the last couple of years, and every year it's getting more traction. What we have done is, not us particularly, but Ireland have set up a national mirror committee to kind of understand, will PAS 1192 work for us? And I know that that's going to become an ISO standard with an annex for each different country, I believe. So hopefully, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. It's happening, and I think that's kind of consensus at the moment in time. And one thing that we did, what I was asked to do, was kind of measure the maturity. So where we did was we worked with MOHAMED, who's on the audience here, and BILAL SUCCAR, and we adopted their macro maturity model. So we went out to 22 leading people within the industry, high-level jobs. And what we actually found out is that, for example, if we look at up here, is that it's kind of a middle-out strategy. And what it means that is the contractors are leading this. And what they're doing with the SMEs, they're training, and they're reaching down to the SMEs and pulling them along with them. Okay, with your maturity, with the BIM capability summaries that are going out, they're kind of encouraging them to say, look, if you don't know what you don't know, we'll train you. We'll put someone out on site, a BIM engineer with you regularly, and they can work with you. So they're trying to get that happening, but they don't want that to be a consistent thing. You want to take the kind of training wheels off at some stage. We're also very, we're a very technology-focused country. We have good infrastructure. We have good people that can use the technology. We are extremely weak with processes. That's where we fall down, and that's what this macro model shows us. We're passive. It means that we don't have any particular guiding body, and where we are very strong is in education, which you showed us and I explained here, and as well as in technology, regulatory frameworks. BIM champions were really, really poor. But this is why we're bringing this. And this is all going to feed into the national roadmap where we've identified these key pillars. The information I've told you here have gone into addressing the key gaps, and then we've put suggestions based on consultations of where we think we need to move forward in order to kind of address these. Stage 2 that we're doing just to validate these results is I've reached out to a number of contacts there, and we're kind of going into a lot more detail about what the mechanics of a national roadmap is. So all these people have replied, and we've been talking with them, and they've kind of helped kind of understand how their roadmaps have worked in a lot more detail, so we can ensure the roadmap coming from our side mirrors a lot of this. So the Canadian roadmap is quite impressive, so it's something that we wouldn't mind kind of running with in a bit more detail. So thanks very much for your time.
We've still got a few minutes here for some questions. Any questions? Very